So in the last video we created this oval on our trackboard, and on this oval you can run your train. If I put a train on this and let's say I put my this locomotive on it, then I can run it by dragging the slide here up and down. So now it stands still, and now it will take off. Okay, but we don't only want to drive in a circle, we want that there's something happening. So we are going to need turnouts and signals to make it a little more lively. Well, how do we put turnouts, signals and so on our trackboard? Well, they're called articles, and the articles are stored here under this green button. You can pull it down, and there will appear a list of articles when you have created them. All these articles are the articles I use on my layout. So there are several signals, several turnouts, and several contact rails, contact points. The ones you see here that has the gray bottom means that they are in use, and when you see an article without the gray bottom, it means that it's is created, but that it's still free, so you can use it on your layout. Well, I will close this now, and of course we want to make our own articles. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by going here to edit. There are several ways to do it. When I open edit, there is the edit article list, and there is the add an article. When you click on edit article list, you get that same list that we looked upon, with a few extra additions to it to work with. Now in this article list you can, these are all mine. If we want to create a new one, we go to the end, and at the end there is a plus. So when we click on this plus, it will create on the first available address an article, and it will always be the article that you have last created. So the last article I created was a signal, so he will the article list will put a signal on the first available address. In this case it's address 1. If I click this one here, you will see that the address is changing to 7. So it means after this address 1 there are still 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And if you go through the list, you can see this is article 7, this starts at address 17, and so on and so on. So I will clear this one, and I close this one. Another way to add an article is, of course, add article. As simple as that. Click it. Now it's going to ask, what do you want to create? No, I want to create a turnout. It will open the list and put on the first available address a turnout. In this case here, the turnout to the right with the name W1. And the W stands for, it is a German program after all, so the W is the first letter in the word Weige, and Weige means turnout in German. It's a German program. I said Dutch, of course that's not true. I'm Dutch, but it's a German program. So Weige is the German word for turnout, so henceforth the W at the beginning. So we have created a turnout. The W name here, you see it here also. So here you can change it. We're going to change it, and we're going to change it to, I click here in it, then the text screen appears. So we're going to delete what's here. We're going to change it to test, as what is our trackboard called, test turnout 1. Okie dokie. I click the check mark, and there is test T1, and also here is test T1. It's the MM protocol. You can choose between MM or DCC. It only means the MM protocol is from Motorola, what 2.Märklin is mostly using. But this system can also handle the DCC. And the difference is, of course, in MM you have about 245 addresses, and in DCC you have almost 10,000 addresses. For I use MM, it's enough for me. So, but if you want to use the DCC, it's up to you. Here is the address for this one. The first address is 1. I can change it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are all free. Now, as you know, we had talked about it a while ago. This one is address 7. So if I now it's 6, if I go to 7, it will turn red. So it means there is already an address 7 taken. Now it doesn't mean that you cannot use it. Sometimes it is handy to use one address for 2 articles. When you have, for instance, 2 turnouts, and one turnout is changing, the other one has to change also, because it will be illogical if that one is not changing. For instance, in and out of a station. So you can address both turnouts to the same address, and when one is activated, the other one automatically change it with it. So in that case, it would be handy to have 2 articles on one address. But for our purpose, we don't need it. So I will change it back to 1. It's convenient. Switching time, well, that's not something you have to worry about. Let it at 200. So, okay. Now we have our test 1. I say okay. And I want to have a signal with it. So again, I could here choose for add article or go to the article list, but there is a third way that you can add an article to your article list. Just go here. There's our test 1. Go to the last page of this one and click on the plus here. Now it's gonna ask you what you want to create. I want to have a signal, and there is our signal here, test T2. It has already created a name for us. So on address 2, that's the first available address after 1. After all, we made this at 1, so this is gonna be 2, and it took this one. But test T2, the T we choose was for turnout. This has to be a signal, so we have to change it here. We're going to change it here, and we call it S2, as in signal. Okay, a tick mark. Now I have a test turnout 1, and I have a test signal 2. But signal 2, it is the first signal, so I'm going to change that as well into 1. It's more easy. So there you have it. 3 ways to create an article. Okay. Now we want to put the article on our trackboard. And we're going to discuss this feature in another video, because this one is already taking more time that I wanted to put in videos to keep it all nice and tight. So the next video I'm going to show you how you can put our turnout that we created and our signal on our oval, incorporate it in our oval and make something with it. Okay, I see you in the next video.